Testing 1, 2, 3. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Crypto Warehouse. My name is Mike. It is July the 14th, and Bitcoin is over $122,000. We said on Friday, maybe 115,000 is on the cards, and here we are, $122,500. We're going to have a look at that in a short while. But first of all, congratulations to the people that turn up, not only when Bitcoin is at all-time lows, but also when Bitcoin is at all-time highs. There are a very few number of people in chat today to say hello to. Hidden Agendas is here, and Alpha Doodle. That is it. But I think there is potentially a problem further along the line. Why is my time frozen? My clock has stopped on the stream. I don't know if anyone else can see that. My clock says 10:59 in 30 seconds. Very, very strange. Let me have a quick look at that and see why that is not working. How odd. It's as if time has frozen. Anyway, we've got a lot to get through. We're going to go through all of the charts today. And something else you will be able to see on your screen, Maple. Year-to-date review is on Wednesday. We will be doing a live show on Wednesday at 7 p.m. as we normally do. But this time, it's going to be a hybrid show. So we're not just going to look at 30 questions and try and guess them. We're not just going to try and, give away prizes. Wednesday is going to be a review. We're going to go through what's going through Maple. I've made a video today on Maple Finance, and the live stream on Wednesday is based on that review. And they are at a $3 billion AUM. They're doing all sorts. So that's on Wednesday. Good morning, KB. How are you enjoying the $122,500 Bitcoin? Apparently, most people are enjoying it that much that they haven't bothered turning up today. There's nobody here today. There's nobody on Binance, and there's nobody on YouTube. There's nobody anywhere. So I think, again, we're going to have, as we had on Friday, a very intimate show with Hidden, Alpha, you, and me. And that appears to be it. And my clock is broken. I think if we go here, that clock works because it's being pulled in from a different location. But this clock is dead. So what are we going to go through today? Well, first of all, we're going to go through the charts as we always do, the X-Files. We're going to have a look at volatility this week. There's a lot to talk about. We have the CPI data coming in tomorrow. What's that going to do for us? Rate cuts. We're going to talk about rate cuts. We're going to talk about Ripple. We're going to talk about ETH. We're going to talk about Pump, the new token. We're going to talk about credit cards. Lots to get through. I don't know if we're going to get to the credit card article. I was going to have a chat with you this morning. I was going to have a chat this morning, but there's nobody here. There is nobody here. Here's me thinking the Bitcoin $123,000 party was going to bring all the boys to my yard, and nobody's turned up apart from 3 people. So what can we do? I think what we should probably do, first of all, is go and have a look at... Now, I tweeted about this literally 10 minutes ago. CoinMarketCap, I believe, it's there. CoinMarketCap was down very briefly about 10 to 11, and it still doesn't look like it's working properly. I think we're holding on. Right, so Bitcoin is $122,500. I have my own targets. The Oracle has his targets. I'm sure most of you have got your targets out there. But the one takeaway, is this loading on the screen? Let's make sure this is working. Absolutely. The one thing I want you to take away from this is you should probably start to think about taking profits. Now, I know we're on the run. I know we're going up. I'm not saying you take profits today. What I'm saying is you should think about taking profits. Get out of the mindset of buying and buying and buying and try and switch into the mindset of dollar cost averaging out. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but let's say we hold on to this price for the next few weeks. Continuation to the upside, where could we go? My target was 124,000. I think the Oracle's got 124,000. We've pretty much hit it. If we go through that, where could we go? Next logical step is probably 140 to 150,000. Well, that's my target for the end of the bull run. So either one of two things is going to happen. I'm wrong, or if I'm right, then this is the top of the bull run. I don't see this run to 500 and 400,000 that people are talking about, but we are in a really, really strong position for Bitcoin. And if we see Bitcoin dominance drop, which we're going to look at today, then, as Drop Dead has literally just asked me in chat, we're going to see the alt season. The alt season is going to happen. And it happens over a very quick period of time. And Ethereum is the one to lead the way, in my opinion. So let me go and have a look at the prices. So we're going to, of course, we're going to get an alt season. The question is, how big an alt season are we going to get? Are we going to get face melting prices? I don't think so. I don't think we're going to see $10,000, $12,000 Ethereum. I do think we're going to go a lot higher. Ethereum is sitting there at $3,043. We don't have Ethereum staking on the ETFs, and we're at $3,040. I said, and I have been saying for weeks, when we get that, we will go between $3,000 and $3,500. Now we're at $3,000. I predict we could probably go back towards $3,500. It's massive bullish momentum now. XRP is almost at $3 whole. There is an ETF which we're going to talk about in a minute going live. It's a false dawn. Don't worry too much about that. BNB has gone over $700. Again, really good prices. We've moved violently to good positions on a lot of these coins now. But remember, I reckon the majority of you out there who are not Bitcoin heavy are probably nowhere near all-time highs for your portfolio. If you are 60% Bitcoin, 70% Bitcoin or something like that, I think you're probably at all-time highs right now. But if you're a Solana maxi or you're an ETH maxi, you're probably nowhere near all-time highs for this year. Ethereum was over $4,000. We're still 33% away. Solana hasn't got anywhere near $200 yet. The only one that's really run is XRP. So I would predict that majority of you watching still have portfolios either underwater or breaking even. And considering that Bitcoin is at all-time highs, maybe your allocation in the next cycle will be more Bitcoin heavy. Who knows? But my portfolio is almost at all-time highs. We are, and I had a huge incident that cost me. So if we take that incident out of the equation, I'm at all-time highs now because I'm pretty much Bitcoin heavy. I think I'm 64% Bitcoin. Solana 167, a decent price. Cardano 75 cents. 80 cents for me is where we need to get to on there. And Hype is almost at $50. Again, it's moving, but look at the movement of the last 7 days. It's up 22% in a week, but Cardano is up 28% in a week. So although we talk about Hype overtaking Cardano and getting into the top 10, they're moving trains. And had Cardano stayed still, it would be at what, 20 billion now, and there would be a big chance of Hype taking it. But Cardano has shifted in a big way. It's probably not far off flipping Tron and Doge. Doge is probably a little bit out of its reach. But then if we go up, you're looking really now at 5 major alts: Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, BNB, and Solana. They are the major alts now. They're probably the blue chips, if we're being honest. And Bitcoin is, of course, the diamond chip. But Ethereum, XRP, BNB, and Solana, they're the ones. They are the ones. And then you've got the next tranche. You've got the Cardanos. You've got the Doges, the Trons, which I'm not a fan of. Sui is also ripping to the upside. That's had a massive bounce. Chainlink at $16. Again, we were talking about Chainlink at $20, $25. Recency bias is important to take into account when you look at where we are. And where you look at where we are is amazing for Bitcoin, but not amazing for everything else. Everything else is still playing catch up from this year. Not even catch up to all-time highs from 2021, but catching up to where we are this year. Drop Dead is here. Good morning. Tariq is here. I hope you're well. So when do we sell? I did say I was going to buy a sell hat because I can't give you financial advice. I need to go and buy myself a sell hat. Good morning, Manjeet. The reason is, very simply, that there's going to be a correction. I talk about this all the time on the OG videos. There's always corrections. Bitcoin never goes up and to the right. Always goes up violently, then stops, retraces or jogs sideways for a little bit. And this is great for now. But I don't know if you remember me saying when we were at 108, 109,000, I was saying just hold 103,000. Just hold 103,000. And this is where we are now. I would like us, and I haven't looked at the chart yet, so I'm going to pull a number out of my behind. I would love us to hold 115, 112. I'd love us to hold that. Maybe it's a different number, but around that figure. I want us to hold because we overheat. Everything gets to exhaustion. Buyers get to exhaustion the same way we've seen sellers get exhaustion. And what's happening right now is there is a massive pool of liquidity underneath us. Shorts have been wrecked. The bears are in the gutter. But now we have everybody going long. The most logical thing for Bitcoin to do is retrace a little bit. And there will be pockets of liquidity below where we are now, 118, 115, 112, wherever it might be. And they will be the next targets for the moneymakers. So it's great. And yes, we can have continuation. And yes, we can keep going. And yes, we might get to 130,000. But if we come back to 115 or 112, it really isn't the end of the world. It's nowhere near the end of the world. Syrup ran all the way up to 65 cents. And I said 2 weeks ago, we could do with a healthy retracement to 44 to 49 cents. Where did we go? 47 cents. Pretty much in the middle of where I said. So I expect a retracement, maybe not today or tomorrow, but when it does start to come down, don't panic. Okay? There are rumours that Chairman Powell is going to go, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. So they're the gainers, massive gainers. Pudgy is going to have an ETF. That's ripping. Algorand, that is doing well. Jasmy, Sui is up. These are all 10% gains in 24 hours. Can't mention that coin. Uniswap. Say, yeah, not a fan. Aerodrome is getting back towards $1. Again, a lot of these gains. Kronos over 11 cents. Has done incredibly well. It's up pretty much 38% in a week. Why? Because it's going to be part of a blue chip ETF. Made a video about that last week called Crow is Back. Losers. Wrong one. Losers. I'm not hoping or expecting to see too many other than stable coins. No, 2 losers. 4 and Memecore. Memecore I've never heard of. Don't know what that coin is. So again, a few losers. Nothing to write home about. But again, enjoy the day. That's the most important thing right now. Enjoy the day. It is not every day that Bitcoin breaks above $120,000. And it didn't just break it, it went flying through it. We're at price discovery. Anything can happen. But a retracement is, in my opinion, pretty likely. The largest asset in crypto has gone up over 3.5% in 24 hours. The logical step now is a cool-off. A little bit of a retracement. It's the fifth largest asset in the world now. There's only a few things bigger than Bitcoin left for it to take out. But again, just because we cool off does not mean it is the end of the bull run. We could very easily see the end by the end of July. We could hit 150, 160,000, and that could be it. But I'm still hedging my bets on November. Right then, let's move on very quickly. Let's actually get into some things today. Good morning, Danny. I hope you are well. Now, this is something cute to start the week. Road workers set up CCTV to uncover who was moving the safety traffic cones. It turns out a key parrot, considered one of the most intelligent birds in the world, moved them to get attention from humans in the hopes to get fed. And this little thing was moving them across the road. Gentle reminder, there are more things in the world outside of crypto. And when we say go and touch grass, go and touch grass. Go for a walk in the park. Stretch your legs. Don't become fixated with the markets. That's not healthy for anybody. Have an outside interest other than crypto. Now then, Binance is officially 8 years of age. 8 years. On the grand scheme of things, it's a startup. On the grand scheme of things, it hasn't reached maturity. On the grand scheme of things, there's a long way to go for Binance. I'm sure the team, I'm sure that the culture, I'm sure the processes in Binance are still being worked on a daily basis. But the expansion of Binance and of others, Crypto.com and Coinbase, but the expansion of Binance has been astronomical. The size of the business, the value of the business has been nothing short of meteoric. And happy birthday to all the Binanceans out there, and keep the faith. My new slogan is Carpe Crypto, which is seize the crypto. We tried to think of some others yesterday, but I think we're going to settle on Carpe Crypto, and we can thank my wife for that one. Now, this is to do with the news that everyone's going to be telling you. It's launching on Thursday, not today. ProShares are launching their XRP ETF on July the 18th. It is not spot. It is a futures ETF. Now, why is that important? Because futures ETFs, there's a process that you have to go through to get these ETFs, and they start with applications and this, that, and that, and then the futures ETFs go live, and then you get the spot ETF. So we want the spot ETF in September. I don't know if that's going to happen. Same with Solana. Don't know if it's going to happen. But the futures go live and we will see volatility. And many people, by the way, are going to read that headline. They're going to read that headline and they're going to ape into XRP thinking it's going to go to $10. It's a futures ETF. As far as I'm aware, and I don't know if this is true of all ETFs, futures ETFs, do not necessarily, futures ETFs, do not hold spot. It is a bet on the future price of XRP. So it's not a spot net purchaser of XRP. Now then, this is what's coming up this week. Tuesday is the big day. We have the CPI, the core CPI. Now, I'm going to let you into a little secret. The CPI data is coming in massively lower than Powell has predicted. Why hasn't Powell cut rates? Tariffs. Tariffs haven't had an effect. Truflation, which I know a lot of you are telling me is not official data. I know it's not official data, but it's been a precursor to the official data catching up. Truflation is probably a month ahead of the actual data being provided by the American administration. So, we are at 1.75% inflation in America. The target is 2%. We need rate cuts, because if you don't have, if you can get to the point where inflation goes negative or close to zero, and according to these experts that want inflation and want growth, that's not good for the economy. So we don't want CPI to start creeping down and down and down and down and down. Now, CPI year on year is 2.7, I believe. Oh, no. Previous was 2.4. They were predicting 2.7. For the year over year, they're predicting 3%. They are predicting CPI going up, whereas Truflation is predicting it's going down. So there is a bit of a crossroads. However, Truflation last month did show the spike for the previous month. So CPI the inflation was going up according to Trueflation in June, but according to Trueflation in July, it's coming down. So if that's the case, we may see slightly higher CPI this month, and then next month a dramatic drop. But we also have, as far as I'm aware, 11 different speakers this week. Michelle is speaking, Michael is speaking, Susan is speaking. There's lots of them speaking. I think there's 11 speeches this week. Wednesday, we've got PPI coming in. Again, what do I say about these days? I personally would not trade those days. I would not trade Tuesday. Again, they're all speaking this week. Everybody's speaking this week. So again, it's a busy week for the Fed. And again, I don't normally show this one, but I think we need to show you just where we are with the liquidations, because boy, oh boy, have the bears been wrecked. If you know a bear, if you're aware of a bear, please do me a favor, reach out to the bear and just make sure they're okay, because I think the bears are in real trouble. $616 million of bear money has gone. $616 million. That's in the last 24 hours. In the last hour, it's... where are we in the last hour? In the last hour, it's, a little bit of the longs getting wrecked. But anyway, the problem now is, how far do we come down to take out the longs? Because I think that's what's next. Now then, let's get on to some actual information. Are we going to see Bitcoin dominance fall this week? That's the question. It's been going up for 4,000 years. Are we going to see Bitcoin dominance come down? Now, again, I have been having several several good conversations about the state of the US economy. And everybody is telling me that the US economy is cooked. And the US economy will overheat if what Trump wants to do. Now, I don't look at the same stats as many other people about this, but my theory is that the majority of this move down was to do with tariffs. And if you look, we have kind of started to come back, and this is going to come down, and then this is going to do this, okay? And then we're going to go back up here. So I think the DXY is going to recover slightly. It did get down as low as, 96.4. It's at 97.9. That's a decent move so far. I think the DXY is going to recover. I think the dollar's going to get a little bit stronger. Not massively. I think it's going to get a little bit stronger. Probably back up to this range here, as I've just said, which is about 100.6, something like that. And again, for all of the people out there who talk about this kind of stuff, there's lots and lots of drawings over here. Look at where we were back around COVID times. You know, we did really come down. This was where was COVID? COVID was about here. This was the COVID move, I think that was the COVID move. So COVID caused us to drop dramatically, but then look what happened. We recovered to the upside. And again, I'm expecting the same thing. We're going to recover to the upside. The dollar is not finished. And all of the people saying that the dollar is over and, we're going to see the ruin of the American economy. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I've made a video about UK and US debt. And I made a video about it weeks ago. And I haven't published it. And I haven't edited it. And there's a good reason for that. Nobody's going to believe me. And when I mean no one's going to believe me, I mean the majority of people that watch it, that follow the narrative of America's debt is spiraling and UK debt is spiraling and all those kind of things. There's a massive difference between debt in the US and the UK and debt in most other countries that are maybe in Europe or maybe in South America or maybe even in Africa, anything like that. Same with Japanese debt. UK and American debt is owned by themselves. the people of America and the UK. There is only a fraction, which I think is about a quarter of debt in America, is owned outside. In fact, it's less in America. It's more in the UK. So 80-odd% of debt in America is owned by the Fed and other American interdepartmental, other departments in America. So it owes itself the money. The UK is the third biggest debtor, or the creditor, should I say. China, Japan, UK. That makes up the majority of the debt that America has. Most of the debt is the Fed or other things. It's not the same as the Weimar Republic. The Weimar Republic was printing currency against gold. The UK and America aren't doing that. So when you see people saying that we're going to spiral, we don't want debt to continue to be the rate it is, but a slowdown in the generation of debt is going to give the chance for the economy to boom. And when AI and AI manufacturing and AI comes online, it's going to deflate everything. It's going to make everything super productive, and then the debt will become an irrelevancy. Now then, the DXY. Now, I'm going to point one thing out to you. Do you see this red line here? I drew this last week. And can you see what is happening to Bitcoin dominance? Did we top out at 66%, which is pretty much here? We are now heading down towards 63.6%. This is the breakdown. Now, the alt season, which was the question in chat from Drop Dead. The alt season happens. What am I on? Let's go to the daily. Right. This is Bitcoin dominance. Okay. Now, as you can see very clearly, this is acting in a completely different manner to it's ever acted before. And there are loads of things for that. Loads of reasons for that. Number one, this is an entirely different world that we are living in compared to 2021 and 2017. We have more alts, we have more money, we have higher market caps, we have institutional investment, we have ETFs. All of those things are the reason that we have come out of this volatility. So if you were to draw Bitcoin volatility, it would probably do something like that. And over time, volatility will basically disappear and it will go. And if you look back here, okay, and then, of course, at some point we're going to see that. Now, just to highlight what happens in an alt season, Bitcoin dominance topped out here. Let's take this date. This was the 7th. This was January 2021. By May, 4 months, however you want to count it, it went from 73% to 40%. So Bitcoin dominance lost almost half in 5 months. Now, when we zoom out onto this Bitcoin dominance chart, we have had so many false dawns for Bitcoin dominance breaking down. This one tricked everybody. Okay, this was when alts went to not all-time highs, but their recent all-time highs. That was then. Now, if you look at where we are now, we have to give it a little bit more time before we start screaming for alt season. Okay? Don't run downstairs and start singing, "Mammy, I'm rich." Okay? We've got a long way to go. We've got to probably, if we look at this trend line, we've got to kind of break below this level here, which is currently about 62.5%. So alts have got to spend some time outperforming Bitcoin over a prolonged period of time. Now, we've just shown you multiple alts putting in 10-15% gains in a day. We've shown you Bitcoin has moved 3.5%, but we've shown you that the alts have moved 4 times that. So they are growing faster than Bitcoin, which means that Bitcoin dominance will come down. But we have seen this type of thing before, and Bitcoin just recovers. Every time it looks to break down, it recovers and it goes higher. So alt season, I think, will happen when we start to break below this bull market support band and then this trend line. So I think we need to be looking down towards maybe 62%. 62% is probably where we're going to see some alt pumps. And then back down here, this was November. So this is around election time. This is where we came all the way down to 55%. I don't think we're going to see that kind of really quick move that quickly. And if we do, like, I'm going to be screaming alt season. I'm going to be screaming alt season if we do that. Okay, I'll scream alt season. And the reason is, there's just so much money coming into the Bitcoin ETF right now that I don't see a 2021 happening. I don't see that. Because BlackRock and the suits, they're buying 5 times the amount of Bitcoin, or 10 times in some days, 10 times the amount of Bitcoin that's being produced. They're buying it on a daily basis. So the market cap of Bitcoin is going up weekly, and then we're going to have a supply shock on Bitcoin. And the supply shock is going to send Bitcoin even higher. So we're going to have to do some to get Bitcoin dominance down from where we are. You know, this is a flesh wound, if we use the Monty Python sketch of losing a few arms and a few legs. This is a flesh wound. Again, we could do this, and then I could be sitting here with my head in my hands in a few weeks' time saying, I think Bitcoin is going to go above 100% Bitcoin dominance. I think we're going to go to 140% Bitcoin dominance, which again, okay, it's not possible, but you understand what I'm saying. At some point, this has to stop. Now, maybe, just maybe, as I was saying before about the volatility, maybe Bitcoin is just so high that it kind of goes into a wave pattern. And it just does this for years. Maybe that's the end of it. Maybe we see 2% moves on a yearly basis. Maybe we see a 1% move on a yearly basis. But I don't think we're going to see that level of violence ever again. Maybe that's the move. Maybe this is the equivalent of this. But again, we talk about history doesn't repeat, it rhymes. And that, at this stage, with the market caps that we've got, that is probably a larger move than that was. Maybe. Anyway, I've spent way too long talking about that. Bitcoin dominance. But Bitcoin dominance for me is the big one. It's the big one because it shows you the absolute domination of crypto by Bitcoin. That's why you should have Bitcoin. If you don't hold Bitcoin after 2 years of me telling you to buy Bitcoin, I don't know what else to say. Now then, this is the total market cap of crypto, and what a beautiful sight. Do my lines deceive me? I drew some lines on one of these charts. Must have been the chart. There we go. This is the one. Right. So what I have said in my little yellow drawing here is we are going to come to this level and then retrace. That is what I am saying. So the retracement that's coming, the retracement for the entire crypto market, I think will happen over the summer. There are many other mitigating factors of why I could be wrong. The strategic Bitcoin reserve is apparently going to be announced. Everything I say goes out the window on that. Powell resigning and them getting in a pro-Trump, pro-economy head of the Fed. Everything I say is going out the window. I can't explain to you how difficult it is to try and explain to you a moving train when so many things can happen on that moving train. And I can't just sit here saying if this, then that, if this, then that, because it's not going to make any sense to you. 68 to 70%. There's no reason why it can't. There's no reason why it can't get that high. We have topped at 66% and started to come down. And if that's a short-term correction, then alts are going to run for that period of time. But we will have a repeat of what happened in January, where alts were going to the moon and everyone was throwing money out the window and screaming hallelujah. And then what happened is we had a prolonged period of Bitcoin dominance going back up again. This could be a short-term alt season, like a mini alt season like we've just had. And we could see lots and lots of gains. And what I would say, and I said this at the very start of the stream before many people turned up, take some profits. Take some profits. I sold Syrup. I sold some Moon tokens. I don't know what else I sold. I sold a load of things months ago. I think I sold them in May. Don't know when it was. I sold again in February. Little tiny bags, okay? Little tiny bags that for a lot of people might be massive bags and for other people might be tiny bags. But I sold and took profits that allowed us to go and do other stuff. If you have bought XRP at 40 cents and we go to $3.50 and you don't take any profit on an almost 9x, then you need to think about things, because we are going to get corrections. And this is when people want to buy, but this is when you should want to sell. Maybe not this second, as I keep saying, it's all about timing. Maybe we go a little bit more. Maybe XRP gets to $3.50, $4, maybe. But take some profits and wait for a correction. Now, could it then go to $5? Yes. But could it quite easily go back to $3, $3.50? Absolutely. So it's not about timing the top. It's about taking some cream, putting it on the side, and then waiting for corrections. How many people have you read on crypto Twitter in the last 48 hours that have said the term take profit? I bet not one of them, because they're all thinking about the end of days, all-time high, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana cycle. We aren't even at January highs. So don't expect us to go to Nirvana or the moon in one go. We'll come down again. I've been saying this, and if I'm wrong, I'm sorry. I've been saying that the summer is going to have the lull. That's when we have another boring 2 months. And this is what I'm saying. Please, for the love of God, let us hold 115, 112, around that figure for the summer, and then break out in October. I'd love that. And again, all of the things I'm telling you could go out the window on a strategic Bitcoin reserve, a Powell resignation, and interest rates. And then we're just going to go absolutely nap through the summer. But at some point, we have to stop. And the case is, if you're taking profits along the way, and if anybody, Tariq might ask, I would look at taking 10%. So if you've got $10,000 in XRP today, I'd take $1,000. Then in a week's time, if it's gone even higher, take $1,000. Then in a week's time, it's gone even higher, $1,000. Keep taking $1,000 out. And again, then there's a correction, 20-30% correction. XRP comes down to $250. What do? You just buy a bag of XRP that you sold for $4 and you're now buying it for $2.50. So you end up with one or two things, the same amount of XRP and money, or even more XRP. That's your choice. But taking profits is part and parcel of it. And obviously it feels bad. When we sold what we sold, I don't know what we sold in the end, $5,000, $6,000, $10,000 we sold. We sold that and I felt bad. I thought it's going to keep going. But then I thought, you know what? These are the highest the coins have been in months. So let's take the profit now and then let's see what happens. And every single one of those coins that we sold, bar Syrup, has come down again to way below where we sold. So was it the right decision in hindsight? Yes. That's what you got to ask yourself. Yeah, I think if we come down to 61, 62% on Bitcoin dominance, alts are going to run. We're going to have a rally. It's going to be great. Take the profits then. Dupe should not have incentivized voting because it does nothing but piss everybody off, if I'm going to swear. You get the people in the projects that didn't get their airdrop because the dupe voters got it. You've got dupe voters complaining that they didn't get enough of an airdrop. You get people saying that the coin is dumping. It's a disaster. Dupe should reward you for voting. And that's it. And they should reward you in dupe. And they should say, if you do 3 votes a quarter, we will pay you an average of 10% a year. That's it. Then you know what? I've got $5,000 worth of dupe. I'm going to get $500 a year for pressing a button 12 times a year. It's a no-brainer. So, again, it's a stupid thing, but it's not their fault. They're young and naive. I say this about a lot of people and a lot of projects, and I sound like a right old moaning git. A lot of Web3 is young and inexperienced, and it's all based on very intelligent people with a lot of energy and a lot of motivation. And I always am the miserable one in the corner that will say, just because you can doesn't mean you should. Just because you can do something doesn't make it the right decision. That's the thing that people don't do. They always go off and decide, well, we can do this, so we're going to do it. It's the wrong decision. Right, we've broken 2 new all-time highs on the total market cap of crypto. What's the next target? Well, I suppose if I'm going to be slightly bullish, we need to look at maybe that. That's 4 trillion. There's no reason for us to go to 4 trillion. It's just 4 trillion. That is what, 6% from here. That's a good target to go for. But the most interesting one is going to be this one, total 3. This is total market cap of crypto minus Bitcoin and Ethereum. This shows you your alt season. Okay, so alt season is going to do what? Let's see. We should start to see real big spikes in this chart. And we're not yet. We're not yet, are we? There's quite a few different lines you can already draw in here, which would indicate a move. And again, oops, my lines are not necessarily in the right place. We can do all of that kind of stuff, move them around. But basically, let's put that back. Basically, we want to get up to, oh my days, we want to get back up to this level here, which is 1.15, which we hit at the, beginning of December. And then we did nothing but come straight back down. We've broken out. Now, again, look at the bounce. This line here is just a moving average of prices. And what you tend to find is you get stuck under it and you can't break out. And then what you do is you change it from resistance into support, and then it goes to the moon. So that's what happened between the summer. So this is the kind of the period that I'm expecting us to replicate this year. And that is, we chop around from July to October, and then we break out in October. If you look at what we've just done, however, we broke up above the support band. We couldn't hold it, but now we're going to propel. Now, again, if Bitcoin dominance breaks down and the alts run, the next target is this line here, which is all-time highs at 1.15. So that's a 20, would that be a 20% move? 17% move from here for alts. What does that mean? It means that on average, your altcoins are going to go up 17%. But some alts are not the same as others. Some alts are going to underperform, some alts are going to outperform. When you see a Bitcoin pump like we've just seen, and you see alts outperform Bitcoin, that's kind of an indication of where money is going to in the alts. So when you see Crow ripping, when you see Sui ripping, even to some extent Cardano over the last few days and XRP, they are clearly coins that investors are looking at. You're sitting on massive bags of Bitcoin and you say to yourself, right, I'm going to take a bit of profit out of Bitcoin, I'm going to run it into some alts. That's what rips those alts to the upside. So when you look at alts that underperform Bitcoin, ask yourself the question, what is the point of me holding an altcoin that does worse than Bitcoin? If you go back over the last 5 years, 6 years, 3 years, and you look at an altcoin and it's done worse than Bitcoin, why are you holding it? Why do you hold it? Is it such a micro cap that maybe the product gets launched this year and next and it's going to be in real world assets and AI? Fine. Absolutely fine. If it's a layer 2 of Ethereum or another layer 1 and it's just absolutely underperformed Bitcoin, and now Bitcoin rips and that thing doesn't move, that's maybe time to think about moving into another altcoin. And again, not saying it's going to happen, but this could be the end of the bull run. It could very well be the end of the bull run. And if it is, and your alt is still down 70% from where it was, and Bitcoin is now done, think about it. What's Bitcoin gone from 15,000? It's done an 8x. Bitcoin's done an 8x this cycle. It's gone up 800% in 2 years. I don't know what more people want. It's gone up 800% in 2 years. What other coins have gone up 800% in the last 2 years? And I bet you anything, it's less than a quarter, less than 10% of the market has followed that trajectory. Solana is clearly one of them. That was at $8, $10. Mitigating circumstances, yes, but it's gone from $10, it's now at $165. That's done a 16x. XRP is another example. That's done, what, a 10x? Maybe 12x? Cardano is another one. So there are coins that have outperformed Bitcoin. I'm not saying they haven't. What I'm saying is, look at your portfolio and see what's outperformed Bitcoin in that portfolio that you've held for the last 2 or 4 years. Now then, the data, tariffs, and volatility, this is what is on the horizon. Never a week goes by without CPI data or a Fed talk. And this is what we've got to keep an eye on. The rumours are that Powell is finished and he could resign in August. That's the rumour. You've had the Housing Committee, I think they're called, asking for his resignation. You've had Trump call him a clown, call him a loser, call him an idiot, telling him that he should have 3% basis point cuts. Again, you cut 3% from the interest rates tomorrow. Bitcoin and crypto and the stock market is going to absolutely rip. What did I say before? Just because you can doesn't mean you should. Is that good for the long-term health of the American economy? No, it absolutely isn't. 1% cut this year is brilliant. It gives breathing space to companies. It gives breathing space on debt like mortgages and loans. It gives breathing space and it turns that tap ever so slightly back on. The money flow, or the money supply, that will get turned back on. Trump wants to print another $5 trillion, whatever it might be. That's going to inflate Bitcoin. But again, as I've said for a few times before, the price of Bitcoin going up, it's going up against assets that are depreciating in value, like the dollar and the pound and the euro. They're losing value. Bitcoin is going up, yes, but it's also being helped by the fact that all of these currencies are being printed and there's inflation and all these other kind of things. So as far as I'm concerned, we don't want 3%. We want maybe 3 cuts of 1/4%, or 0.5%, 1/4%, and 1/4%. That would be healthy, I think. Turn it back on. Do it in a sensible fashion. Good morning. Why the pump? Bloodbath in August. I think there's going to be a bloodbath in August, yes. Why is there a pump? Because I think the markets are just ready for it. I think we have needed a breakout for some time, and I think we said last week, I don't know what the traders in the chat were saying, but I know that the Oracle has got 124, 130 something and 141. There is targets, and we've gone near 124. I think I had 124 as well, so they're kind of tying in. We moved up, and then we consolidated, and now we've broken out, and what we need next is consolidation. We don't need a reversal. We don't want to come back down. I want us to hold 115, 114. But it's these things, it's a matter of time. Bitcoin is naturally wanting to go up. And we could find out in a week's time that this is to do with a certain event that happened in retrospect. Or we could find out it's just the way the market wanted to move. Everybody was calling for this, and it happened, which is unusual because whenever it says it's going to go up, it comes down. Now, next week is going to be the turning point. I don't want to cover this too much. We've already gone through it. Basically, we're going to have discussions about Powell. We've got CPI data. We've got Trump talking about tariffs. He wants to impose tariffs on Europe again. He's going to do all the kind of things. So basically, this is a very volatile week. The CPI data comes out tomorrow. That's what we need to focus on. CPI data comes in good. We are going to be really, really happy. But this is the key. Okay, when are we going to see the rate cuts? Even some sensible traders and sensible cryptos people are now saying that Powell has left it too late. And what Powell did was he was spooked by the tariff war, which was when Trump went out, and I think we said this yesterday, not yesterday, I think we said this on Friday, I don't want to repeat myself, but basically, nobody read Art of the Deal. Nobody's read Art of the Deal. How many people in chat have read Art of the Deal by Donald Trump? I think he wrote it 30 years ago, 40 years ago. How many people in chat have read that book? Everybody out there is worried about his tariffs, and I guarantee nobody's read that book. It tells you exactly how to play this. Basically, in English terms, you kick off at everybody. You kick off at everyone and you get in their face and you're aggressive. And you're aggressive from the outset. And then what you do is you have concessions. Now, it's easy to do that with politicians that are career politicians who've never faced up to that before and may be new to the job. Keir Starmer is as weak as Catwater. There's nobody left in Europe once Merkel left, whatever she was called. Nobody left in Europe. Canada, basket case. They don't have a decent leader. Japan have never really been aggressive in the market. The only two people that have stood up to Trump, Xi and Putin, they are not new politicians. They know the game. They know Trump as well as Trump knows them. The war isn't over. Trump said it would be. Xi's not backing down on tariffs. They're going to negotiate, yes. Art of the Deal explains exactly how Trump plays the game. He is aggressive from the outset and he gives concessions. Aggressive concessions. That's the game. Powell clearly never read the book. Powell is flapping. He's taken his tie off. He's unbuttoned his shirt. He's trying to look relaxed. He's bottled it. He has bottled it. And I have backed him. He is one of my favourite people. Hester Peirce and him. Two favourite people in the American establishment, government, whatever it might be. Fed, I know that's a different company, different department, sorry. But you get the point. He's bottled it. And Trump, if you remember, Trump took him to the White House and they met and they didn't discuss tariffs and interest rates, which is the biggest pile of horse manure you have read since they said that there was no list. Okay? No list. There's no list. He would have told Powell in that meeting what his strategy was for tariffs. He told him. And then Powell did nothing about it. And that is when Trump turned on him. Trump will not turn on you if he hasn't given you a chance. He will turn on you if you turn that chance down. And I am not a Trump fanboy by any means. He was the better of two candidates that stood. Kamala Harris would have been a disaster. So he should have cut rates. I'm not saying he should have cut them in January, but certainly he should have had one rate cut by now. It costs the government a fortune in interest repayments. They're now trying to get him on a technicality, which is the amount of money he has spent on his office building. It's the most trumped up thing you've ever heard, if you pardon the pun. So again, are we going to get rate cuts? Yes. Is that going to add more fuel to the bonfire? Yes. Are we going to go higher? Yes. But maybe not in a straight line. Okay? Maybe not in a straight line. Donald's ducks, low inflation, cutting interest rates, boosting productivity, rebalance of the tariffs, Donald's ducks all lined up. He'll get what he wants because nobody stands in his way. That's it. He tried to be soft in 2016. He did the soft way. He got the wrong people to be with him, and he made a mess of it. He didn't do a decent enough job. Okay, he was too polite. You can see this is the second time around and last time around, and he is going for it both barrels, and he will not stop. And if Elon Musk gets in the way, Elon Musk will be trodden on. Simple as that. Right then, XRP, what happens if it breaks above $3? Bullish targets. Again, one of the major coins that's seen a lot of price action is XRP. It's going to go. It's going to go up and it's going to go big, but it is not going to $100 like everyone in their aunt keeps telling you. We are not going to see $100 XRP. I think I've said $5 to $7, and I said that 2 years ago. $5 to $7 for XRP. The market cap, the maturity, the money coming in, $5 to $7. I've said that, never changed my mind. Okay, the bottom half of this prediction is about $6, $7. So I totally am in agreement. Where I draw the line is when people are telling you it's going to go north of $10, because the market cap of XRP has to go substantially higher than I think it can. We're going to need a massive Bitcoin blow off top to get XRP there. Longer term, absolutely. Longer term, more money in the economy, more money in crypto, more money in projects. XRP can certainly go there. But to expect it to go from 3 to, where does it predict? That looks like about $15 or something. It's too far, too fast. We did get the support. Again, we've been covering this before. We've been telling you about the safe spaces for Cardano, XRP, Solana, the safe prices that they've been sitting at. And that acts as support as well. And then they springboard up. Cardano was below 60 cents last week, and I was a little bit worried. I said 57 cents. I'm a bit worried it's going to lose that. Now it's heading back towards 80. I said XRP will go towards $3, $2.75, $3. It's gone there. So the next leg up now is, where do we go next? Do we go $4? Do we go $5? Maybe. Let's go back and read this. The chart shows that XRP broke out of a 5-year consolidation pattern and has formed a new support base around 250, 270. Absolutely agree. If the $3 level is flipped into support, the next bullish wave could mirror previous parabolic runs and send it. I totally agree, but I just don't agree how high. Again, the bigger the market cap, the more money it takes to move things. Bitcoin takes a lot of money to move it, the amount of money it moves. XRP, the same thing. You can move any coin with a $10 million market cap and very little circulating supply. You can move any coin. You can create a coin tomorrow that has a market cap of $1 million. Doesn't mean it's going to have $1 million worth of liquidity in it, but you can. I think we're looking safely $5, $7 range for XRP. Absolutely. And again, if you don't think that's enough of a pump, you should have been here when we were talking about it at 30, 40 cents and people telling me or asking me in chat on Binance, is it worth buying XRP at whatever it was, 35 cents? Is it worth it? Well, that's 10x ago. So I think so. Ethereum broke 2,800. It broke 3,000. Can bulls hold for major rally? Again, remember what the narrative has been. And remember what I've been telling you. Everybody was saying Ethereum was finished. It's garbage. It's going to $800, $1,200. And I stuck, as I have done with a lot of these coins, by my guns. And I said $3,000 to $3,500 with the ETF news. We've got there without the ETF news. Ethereum, I don't know why I said it like that then. Ethereum will probably come back down to this range. Okay, it will probably come back down to this range. Now, that is a critical resistance level. If we come back down to that range and we hold it, that resistance becomes support. And then, when it's used as support, we will bounce higher. So, $3,000 is amazing today. We're going to be at $2,800 on a retracement if we get one. If we don't, $3,500 is next. Again, it's nearly impossible to sit here talking about price targets as we're breaking all-time highs. But you can just look in the history yourself. Bring up any chart. Go to CoinMarketCap. Bring up Ethereum. Go over the all-times and go and see where Bitcoin has been in the past and where Ethereum has been in the past and Solana. They're the prices that will be attractive to the actions of the market. If you know, for example, why does it mention $4,000? It mentions $4,000 because that's where Ethereum was last time it went up that high. All I tell you is where it went to in the past. Then, when we get to price discovery, we give you some targets for Bitcoin to go to on the next leg up, which are slightly less easy to predict. It's easy to say $4,000 for Ethereum because that's where it went to last time. So these people are not magicians. They're not Saruman or Gandalf. They just look at a chart and go, it went there before, it will go there again. And again, think of the orders at $4,000 to sell. $3,900 will be a big target to break. The same $2,800 was a target to break. It broke. Now it needs to be support. $4,000. I think we're going to struggle to get above 3,839 at a first attempt. I think we'll bounce off that. But for me, Ethereum, again, $6,000, $8,000, $10,000, somewhere in that range, depending on how high the bull goes. And I think we are looking good. Now, it is already 12 o'clock. We're not going to look at the last article, but I do want to talk a little bit about this one because this is the Pump.Fun coin. Now, again, bad actors. Let's talk about bad actors. Pump.Fun have extracted tens and tens and tens of millions of dollars out of you and Solana and Web3. They've taken millions out. And guess what? They decided that they weren't rich enough. So what they did was they sold a pump token. And they sold it through different exchanges. Okay, I can't remember how much they sold. Was it $500 million? I can't remember what they sold it. They sold, or did they sell it for? I can't remember the exact number now. But they sold. There we go. Pump. Why do you know what programmers? Some of them need to meet a chair. They concluded its $500 million ICO in 12 minutes. The platform did not distribute the full number of tokens originally announced for the public sale. So basically, they've made another $500 million. And I think that if you have made that much money out of crypto in general, that money doesn't come out of thin air. That money comes out of your pocket. So if the money comes out of your pocket, then they've made $500 million out of you. And lots of other people have been buying it. I'm not saying it's going to go to zero, by the way. I'm just saying that a lot of the time you see these types of pumps and you are the exit liquidity. You are the money. So just, again, be careful with that. Now, I've no idea why my clock hasn't or isn't working. It's 10:59, but it is actually... Let's have a look. It is actually 12:03, so it's done. Wednesday, Maple Finance year-to-date review. I've already recorded the video. I'm in the process of editing the video. I'm going to put the video live probably today. If you want to win at live, you need to watch that video because most of the answers in the Maple Finance quiz on Wednesday will be in that video. But we're also going to go through the video and review it. So rather than being an hours-long quiz, we'll probably do 20, 30 minutes on Maple Finance and then 40 minutes on the quiz. So it's going to be a hybrid. It's not that I don't want to do the quizzes. I just don't want to become a one-trick pony. I want to try and, spice it up a bit. We've got to have our relationship needs to have a bit of spice to it from time to time. So I need to spice it up a bit. Maybe put a red rose down somewhere and a glass of wine. That's going to be Wednesday. We've got 2 other streams, the Wednesday after and the Wednesday after that, where we're going to be doing Mew and we're going to be doing Wolf Swap. They're on the cards as well. So thank you to all of the people that showed up. Thank you, Simon. Thank you, Drop Dead, KK, Cyberpunk Danny, Manjeet, Tariq, Hidden, and Alpha. Thank you all for coming. I will see you all on tomorrow. I'm streaming this week, Monday, Tuesday, and Friday, and we're doing the live stream on Wednesday night. The Oracle, I think, is streaming Tuesday and Thursday. So we'll see you all. Congratulations, $122,000 for Bitcoin. Incredible. Have a great evening. Let's see if we can hold the line. Take care.